What makes an opening scene unforgettable? And how can you craft one for your book? Today I'm going to show you how. We're going to look at the first scene in Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. This opening is so strong, you can't put it down. I'm Kim Purcell. I'm a published novelist, and I have a new book coming out published by Penguin called The Busy Writer's Guide to Finishing a Novel in 100 Days. I'll walk you through my 15 steps to crafting a fabulous scene. These are steps you're going to see in any of your favorite books, in any scene. You can do the same thing and make your scene so compelling the reader has to keep reading. You can also use these 15 steps to analyze a scene that you've already written. We're going to cover them one by one. Take your time with this video, pause it when you have to, brainstorm under each point. Step 1, the hook. How will you pull the reader in at the start? How are you going to make them wonder? That's the secret. It's not like you have to have a monster chasing them or put them in great danger. You just have to make the reader wonder. So that's the big test. Look at your first paragraph and see, would this make the reader wonder? And if not, try again. So in scene 1 of Project Hail Mary, Ryland Grace wakes up with no memory, and also he doesn't know where he is and he can't talk properly. Right away, the reader is curious. We want to know what's going on. You make the reader wonder, but then pretty quickly you answer whatever question's in their mind. And then you plant another one. Step 2, we need intriguing characters. Think about who's in the scene and who is the main character. This is a common problem I see from people. They don't even have a main character. We need a protagonist. We need someone to care about, and that needs to be in your first scene. I encourage you to imagine being in the character's body, looking out through their eyes, seeing the world as they see it. Add in personality so that we sort of bond with this character and they feel real. Ryland's voice is a bit sarcastic. He also kind of laughs at himself in this particular scene. He's like, really? Do I use those kind of expressions? Think of the kind of expressions your characters use because it'll show a lot about them. This is what he says. Holy moly, I say. And this is his reaction to his own words. Holy moly? Is that my go-to expression of surprise? I mean, it's okay, I guess. I would have expected something a little less 1950s. What kind of weirdo am I? His sarcastic inner thoughts keep it engaging. Step 3, setting. You need to go through the senses. What can your main character or your narrator see? What can they hear? What can they smell? What can they taste? What are they touching with their hands or their feet? What is the weather like? What's the light? Where are they? And what are the very specific details that you're going to share with the reader that will make them feel like they're right there? Now, the location in this story is part of the mystery. This is what it says. I can't see. I can't hear anything other than the computer. I can't even feel. No, that's not true. I feel something. I'm lying down. I'm on something soft. The mystery unfolds slowly. So no matter what your scene is, you want to have that. And setting is a great place to add mystery or add suspense, add danger. It's a great idea if you can have some kind of danger in your setting, either emotional or physical. When I say emotional danger, could someone be mean to them? Physical danger, obviously, is something that could hurt them. We get this unveiling of the setting in this scene. We get more details as it goes on. LED lights shine down on me. Cameras in the ceiling watch my every move. Creepy though that is, I'm much more concerned about the robot arms. The 2 brushed steel armatures hang from the ceiling. Each has an assortment of disturbingly penetration-looking tools where hands should be. So remember, danger in your scene. He identifies the danger pretty quickly. Step 4, emotion. How does your protagonist feel at this moment in the scene? Ryland's confusion mirrors ours. Whatever emotions they're having, that's going to affect how they see the world, how they see the setting, and the other characters. Whatever happened to them right before this scene is going to affect them. Step 5, backstory. What just happened before this scene? He doesn't yet know, but he's going to find out. Remember, they didn't just arrive in your book or in your scene with no backstory. They had a whole life before. So whatever it is, it's going to affect this scene. Do they have any fears that are going to affect this scene? Any backstory with any of the other characters? In this scene, fragments of his memory return. His first memory is about breakfast. He's not really sure what's happening. He figures out he lived in San Francisco and he knows something about astronomy. Little bits are revealed, and that's super interesting to the reader. Anytime you're tempted, I got to give them everything about the backstory. I got to give them everything about the world. You don't. You can drip it out slowly. So make the reader curious, even about the backstory. Step 6, scene questions. All right, what are you going to make the reader curious about after that first hook? You need to have scene questions throughout. In Project Hail Mary, a lot of the questions come about the setting, about the character, about his backstory. So we're getting little bits of information, and while the character's trying to figure stuff out, so are we. And that's so effective for storytelling. How can you make the reader co-create with the character so that they are imagining being in this situation and trying to figure something out along with the character? That's what you want. Step 7, you need a scene goal. What does the character want to get, find, do, learn? You need to know that because that's the directionality of the scene. Of course, throughout the whole book, they have this sort of bigger goal. His bigger goal is going to be to survive, but each scene has a smaller goal that leads them in the direction of that bigger goal. In this scene, Ryland's trying to figure out where he is and what is happening. It doesn't need to be a giant goal. It could be something as simple as learning a magical spell. In a realistic story, it could be they're trying to make a friend. Step 8, conflict. You need to add a problem or an obstacle to your scene. So they have a goal and then something's going to stop them. What would stop them? What would be the perfect obstacle for this particular character or group of characters? What are their unique weaknesses, their fears, their insecurities? Think of what would be hard for them to overcome. This scene is kind of incredible because he's alone. It's hard to have conflict in a scene where a character is just alone, but Weir manages it. The conflict comes from this panic of where am I? What's happening to me? And then we don't only have that internal conflict, we have the external conflict because this robot basically seems to be attacking him. So he rolls out of the bed and these robot arms reach for him, but he doesn't realize he's all attached to these tubes. Well, that's pretty painful. They pop out. He's screaming, writhing on the floor. And this is what it says. The arms give chase. I crawl along the floor to escape. I get under one of the other beds. The arms stop short, but they don't give up. They wait. Okay, so he's being chased by these robot arms. It sounds pretty freaky. Step 9, dialogue. Okay, you need dialogue in your scenes, especially if they're with other people. Ryland talks to the robot, and that robot reveals information. Let me give you an example. This is what the robot says. Self-ambulation detected, says the computer. What's your name? I am Emperor Comatose. Kneel before me. Incorrect. What do we learn about the character? He's funny. And also, we learn he doesn't know his name. So think about what kind of information are you going to reveal in the dialogue? You can reveal character information or information that will be useful for the plot. But try not to have that kind of boring dialogue that doesn't actually give anything to the reader. We need to learn things about these characters and find out what's going on through the dialogue. In Project Hail Mary, Ryland's talking to himself and he's talking to the robot. And we're getting a lot of information from it. Step 10, physical actions. What are your characters doing in the scene? And could you make it more interesting? A lot of times you might want characters to be talking, but if you could get them doing something physically while they're talking, it would be more interesting to the reader. In Project Hail Mary, Ryland's looking around, assessing what to do. He's escaping the robot. He's making decisions, and we're right there with him. It's exciting. Step 11, failure. Failure is actually pretty important for your scenes. What small or big mistake could the character make? Something small will make the reader go, oh no, it adds tension. Something big, of course, could lead to a failure within that scene, pushing the book forward. So the character is always moving toward their goal and they slide backward. That's just part of life, right? So you need to reflect that in the scene. And the reader will be like, oh no, don't do that. So that's great for any kind of narrative tension. We want that. In this particular book, he does make a mistake. He jumps away from the robot arms without realizing all these cords are attached to his body, and it's pretty painful. Not a life-threatening mistake. He's able to overcome it after a little bit of pain and continue toward his goal. Step 12, dilemma. Can you give your character a dilemma? Something that they can't figure out. They're trying to choose. Should I do this or should I do this? That's great for storytelling because the reader can co-create with the character. They can be like, oh no, you should do that. Or you should do this. And we'll be arguing for what they should do. And then the character will choose something. We may disagree. And then we'll see what happens. Rylan has to make several choices. Here's one example. The robot gives him disgusting looking brown sludge and tells him to eat. So what would you do? Who am I to question a creepy robot-armed computer overlord? Step 13, a decision. What decision do they make after they face that dilemma? I cautiously lick the substance. He had the dilemma, he made the choice, and now we get to see the consequence. We're definitely curious. Oh my God, it's good. It's so good. It's like thick gravy, but not too rich. I squeeze more straight into my mouth and savor it. So, good consequence. That's all you need. We need each step of that decision-making process. Step 14. Stakes. Every scene needs stakes. Think about the character's goal and how you can show that there's some kind of risk, that something negative could happen if they don't achieve their goal. This scene really does have stakes because he's just seen that the other two astronauts are dead. Is he next? Step 15. A cliffhanger. Yes, I know you might be saying, I don't want cheesiness at the end of my chapters. I don't want to make him running for his life each time. That's not what a cliffhanger is. A cliffhanger is literally anything that makes the reader wonder. It could be danger, but it could be some other question. It's the reason we keep turning the page. So if you make your character go to sleep or put something super boring at the end of a chapter, we can go to sleep. We just close your book and maybe we'll never pick it up again. How can you make the reader want to keep reading? The end of Project Hail Mary's first chapter is a reveal. I'm not on Earth. Those are the last 4 lines. Now that he's figured it out, the reader is wondering, well, what's he going to do about it? That's all you need is some kind of question in the reader's mind, and they're going to keep reading. Hey, that's it, everybody. Those are the 15 steps you need to do to brainstorm your scene. Check them out here. I've given you the list. You can pause me and brainstorm them right now. You can come back to this video anytime you need to brainstorm your scene. Your scenes are going to be so much better if you follow these 15 steps. Hit subscribe, like the video, please reply with any comments or questions. You can do this. I got you. Happy writing, everyone.